All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for listening to RNB103. I'm Brooklyn Alexander, and I have the pleasure of interviewing today none other than our fearless founder and, of course, the one and only Dwayne Mcclain. How you doing?
Brooklyn Alexander, hello. How you doing? Everything is lovely.
Yes, it is. And I feel so special that I have the opportunity to interview you today and find out a little bit about how you got started, what made you want to do this thing called radio, and where do you see yourself going from here? So, you ready to hit it?
Yes, Brooklyn. Well, thank you very much. Well, you know me best. And you know pretty much what my career, basically how it started in the middle. But, you know, the adventure has been a blessed adventure for me to be exposed to a lot of radio industry folks ever since I was, 17. Well, I went to broadcast school in New York City, went down to the Virgin Islands after I got out of broadcast school, and just happened to meet up with some really high professional people in the broadcast industry who were pretty much down in the Virgin Islands on vacation. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Would one of those happen to be none other than our very own Ken Webb?
Yes, indeed. I ran into Ken way before that. That's how I got into broadcast school. I had met Ken Webb. He was working for WBLS at that time in New York City, one of the top stations at the time. And him and Frankie Crocker were just dynamic in developing the urban contemporary format. BLS, they had a basketball team called the BLS Sure Shots. So I went to one of the basketball games, and I had the opportunity to meet Ken. After the game was over, they were having like a little meet and greet. I was so excited. And I said, Ken, I want to do what you do. I want to do that. I was a little kid. He said, son, go to school and you have to learn to read very well. So, that just stuck with me. We'll make a long story short. I went to broadcast school. Well, my family was originally from the Virgin Islands, so I went down there to live with fam. I said, well, let me just see if I could get a job because I had an audition tape and I got a job. Just so happened that Ken Webb was programming the station that I was working at. So it was like, oh, this is a beautiful thing, right place. The Lord has blessed me. So in that process, he instructed me and a bunch of other people, Wendy Williams for one, we all worked together. He taught us pretty much everything, how to get it done. At that time, I was working afternoon drive, and he said, well, you need to go in mornings. I tried it out, and I loved it. And then he tried to get me into programming. It's like, I don't want to do programming because I don't want to be in the station all day. You know how that is.
Yeah, people think it's one of those quick little 4-hour jobs. Oh, no, you can be in there for hours.
So I got addicted to doing mornings, getting in there at 5 o'clock in the morning and getting out at 12 noon, 1 o'clock. Afternoon time and my day was done. So I got addicted to that. And then, my career just escalated from there, meeting some of the, top programmers. And then still being down in the Virgin Islands, I left the station that I was working at because it was sold. And I went to another station and ran into a programmer, Gary Burns.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Okay.
What was the time frame between the time that you first met Ken Webb and he told you, son, make sure that you learn how to read, between that point in your life and when you met him again when you were working in radio? What was the time frame?
Oh, that had to be 7 years or better.
Wow. Okay.
It was a long time. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. From the Virgin Islands. From there, you went where?
I went to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I started working at another station down in the Virgin Islands for a guy named Gary Burns. He had bought a station down there called the Caribbean Q. In the process of me working there, I had got a call from a person that worked in Brewer Broadcasting. And then it just so happened I got in connection with a gentleman called Ray Boyd. Ray Boyd was the program director of V103 in Atlanta. So what happened was, I said, well, I want to go back to the U.S. and work. So Ray Boyd said, I really don't have nothing here for you at V103, but there's something available in Chattanooga that you fit perfectly with. So I sent them my tape and all of that. And next thing I know, I was headed to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And that's where I met you, Brooklyn. I'm telling you, we talking about, so many years, too many years to count.
Yeah, I had all black hair then.
Yeah, yeah. I got the job working at Power 94 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, under Keith Landecker, and then that's where I met you, and we started doing mornings together. We used to have so much fun, Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was fun. Definitely. I loved chat. I definitely enjoyed living there and working with you, because one thing about you in the mornings, never knew what was going to come out of your mouth, never knew what the setup was going to be, and I was willing to follow you right on through it, whatever it was, no matter how insane it was, too.
But see, I never knew what was going to come out of my mouth either. Because believe me, they used to call me on the carpet all the time. You can't say that. You can't do that. You can't talk about that on the air. The owners would come you in there. So I know what that meant. They were calling me on the carpet. But, I learned, because it was a different format, different times, because if you remember back then, I was right up in the middle of the zoo format, but on a different level. I wasn't like the big-time guys that worked in New York doing it, but we were pretty damn close. After Chattanooga, I went to Indianapolis. I worked in Indianapolis for a couple of years doing mornings, but it was just too cold. I just couldn't deal with that snow. After working in the Virgin Islands for so many years, sunshine, blue skies, I couldn't deal with the cold weather. It's like, no, I can't do it. So I left Indianapolis, went back to Chattanooga, worked there a little bit. From there, I went to Cleveland, Ohio, back to the Virgin Islands, worked a couple of stations, so my career has been wonderful. I've just been blessed to be, involved with the right people at the right time, and just having those people in my life up to today, I can still call them. Say, hey, what's going on? We're talking about 40 years deep. That's what makes it special to me. People like you that you could always, hey, you know what? We've been friends for 45 years, Brooklyn. A lot of people don't know that.
Man, you're telling my age now. Don't do that. Don't do that. That was uncalled for. Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you. If you had to do this thing called life all over again, would you still do it the exact same way? Or would you make changes? Would radio be your choice? Or would you fall into some other profession? And if it were different, why would it be?
The other profession that I really wanted to do, I wanted to go to Los Angeles and be a game show host.
Really?
Yeah. I was really intrigued by that because I did a little bit of TV, sports TV, and I just felt that I wanted to be a game show host. Wink Martindale, people like that I couldn't remember because there were no African-American game show hosts.
What type of game show or
Jeopardy,
what?
dating game, you name it. Any type of game show. I just wanted to be a game show host because I felt that I could do it well. I used to practice it to myself in my room, but it just never really evolved. So I really got hooked on radio. I got hooked on the dynamics of it, the music especially, the different genres of music. To answer that question, that was the profession that I really wanted to do other than radio.
Get out. All of these years that I've known you, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, I wanted to be a game show host. I used to tell my moms that all the time. Son, you can't do that here. You need to go to California. It's like, I don't know anybody in California. The radio part of, my life, it's like I know nothing else to do. I can't do nothing else because I didn't learn anything but that. I didn't really look at it as being a job per se because we were getting paid to have fun. And I always say that. We couldn't believe that they were paying us the amount of money that they were paying us to play records and talk. Well, my father used to tell me that all the time. You need to go out and get a real job, son. Being on the radio is not a job. I love it to death. I'm still doing it. Still in the game, even though it has changed.
Yeah, it has definitely changed a lot. It's not like it was in the days when we grew up. Now, you hear a song, you like it, you can Shazam it, and you can go find it on the internet and just download it, and it's yours. Not to mention iTunes or Google Play,
Yeah. Anybody can do that. Well, the new generation, that's what they do. That's what radio stations compete with now because the younger generation, they don't necessarily have to listen to a particular radio station. The concept of where it is now, in my opinion, is that the internet radio is right in the middle of the whole thing. the FM signals. They are there. They are trying to stick with a larger demographic. They call it the 25 to 54 demographic. And then they have to give a boatload of stuff away in order to keep that demographic interested in their station, more so than what we did back in the day.
During the time that we were coming along, yeah, we gave away prizes, but basically it was theater of the mind. You made people see things without actually using their eyes. They saw things with their ears. And it made it fun and entertaining. But now you have to deal with the instant gratification that most people are looking for, because that's the era that we live in.
In my opinion, FM is struggling somewhat. They're fighting for audience. It's like a radio station giving away a CD now is like, nobody really interested in that. I can get that off the internet. You see what I mean?
Without getting too very technical, how do you, as a programmer, keep RNB 103 viable, interesting, and keep it so that people definitely want to tune in and listen?
Well, that comes from, I guess, the training and going through each decade and looking at the compilation of the people that we're serving. Also having the secret sauce, I would say, to playing the music, but not so much playing the music, it's how the music is played. For the younger generation, I look at it as being a learning experience, because even kids that I see today, I said, you know who Michael Jackson is? He plays basketball, right? Like, no, not Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson. They don't know who Michael Jackson is. You see what I mean?
Wow.
So I feel that the demographic that we deal with on RNB 103 is between the ages of 45 and 75, where people can go back and reminisce on the songs that we play, and it takes them to a particular place. Now, picking the music and what songs really affect them, we learn that from living in that genre year. We know, well, in the 80s, the 90s, this here was going on. These were the hot songs, and playing the songs that they haven't heard in years and years and years, because a lot of the terrestrial radio stations, FM, forgot about it or just don't play it. So we refresh it and we make it sound like it's brand new. The rap industry has totally evolved into something different than when we first experienced it, back in the late 70s. Up until now, it's just totally different. We chose in the format, well, hey, we're going to stay true to the game, and we're going to give these musical artists from past and present much respect for laying out the path to where the music industry is now. Like your Jam and Lewis, your Kashif, your top producers that know how to develop the style of what urban radio should sound like. That's what we do. That's what we do. We just kind of like keep it close, and we kind of like try to make it a learning experience for the younger generation and the new generation. And of course, us adults. Well, I haven't heard that song in so many years. Wow, where did you get that from? And we try to make it sound new and fresh, and that's the key. So it's like old school is now new school. The perfect example was Ice Cube. When he came up with that song, Today Was a Good Day, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was a sample from the Isley Brothers.
Right.
So a kid today, they would hear that song, they would hear the Ice Cube song. Oh, that's an old school jam. I said, no, it's not. It's not old school. This is the old school right here, the Isley Brothers. The music genre has changed, and we changed along with it, but we make sure that we give a lot of these artists credit for paving the way for how this new generation of music, when it comes out, they get the respect for it. Because if I hear another Boots on the Ground, I am going to choke myself. No, let me stop.
Now, look, that's my jam, though.
I know.
I still cannot do the dance at all.
Can't do the dance,
no, can't do the dance at all because I'm rhythmically challenged. But but I do love the song.
That's kind of like how, RNB 103 was formed. And, that's what everybody that we have on board, they're doing it as a passion. They love radio. They don't want to get back into the aspect of radio broadcasting itself because of it's changed so much. And, like where we don't have to go there. They don't have to go into the studio anymore. They could do that from the comforts of their home. That's the difference.
Well, now that you have pulled the curtain back and given the listeners a glimpse into the makeup of Dwayne Mcclain, any parting words you would like to leave?
Well, I just want to plug this. We've been back and forth. We're now on Alexa. Only thing that people have to do is just say, Alexa, play 103.net, and then you're connected on your Alexa device or on your smart TV. You just have to go to Amazon Prime or Amazon Silk. That's what it is, Amazon Silk, and we're right there with you. Plus, you can pick us up online, pick us up on YouTube, various promotions about all of the personalities that work at the station. And I want to give a shout out to our mix masters, DJ Low, DJ Chips, and Ken Tobin, who just travels all over the world. He's like in high demand, so we're glad to have him back at RNB103.
All right. Well, everybody, there you have it. Words from the man who put it all together and makes it all happen. RNB103.net, Dwayne Mcclain. And we thank you, sir, for all you do. And thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you, Brooklyn. Take care.
You know you have to sign off with thank you for thanking me. That's your phrase for people who don't know. That's his phrase all of the time. He's like, oh, thank you for thanking me.
All right, Brooklyn, I'd like to thank you for thanking me.
All right, man. Have a wonderful one, and thanks so much for spending time with us today.
Okay, thank you, Brooklyn.
All right, this is RNB103.net, and of course, remember what he just told you. Anytime you can pick us up, anywhere. All you have to do is remember those magic words. Alexa, play 103.net.